The NASCAR Cup Series finally returned to Chicagoland Speedway, and if anyone was wondering whether this track still belonged on the schedule, Sunday night gave a pretty loud answer. After years away from the 1.5-mile oval in Joliet, Illinois, NASCAR came back to a packed crowd, a rough and challenging racing surface, and a finish that had fans on edge until the final lap. And when it was over, Chase Briscoe was the driver celebrating in victory lane. Briscoe held off Christopher Bell in the closing laps to score his first Cup Series win of the season, his first at Chicagoland, and the sixth victory of his career. The margin at the finish was 0.276 seconds, with Briscoe crossing the line ahead of his Gibbs Racing teammate after a final run shaped by tire wear, lap traffic, and track position. The event marked NASCAR's first Cup race at Chicagoland Speedway since 2019, after the series had shifted its Chicago area focus to the downtown street course for the previous 3 years. The return brought the Cup Series back to a traditional intermediate oval with aged asphalt, bumps, and multiple lanes that forced drivers to manage grip across long green flag runs. NASCAR ran 19 Cup races in Joliet before pulling out after the 2019 season, and this race brought the facility back into the national schedule with the next-gen car as a major storyline. Rain on Friday and Saturday created parking-related issues around the facility, but the race itself produced 28 lead changes among 13 drivers, 7 cautions for 43 laps, and a caution-free final stage after the restart on lap 172. It was not an easy cruise to the checkered flag. Bell was closing fast, the traffic ahead was messy, and Briscoe had to defend nearly every lane while sliding around on worn tires. But when the pressure was highest, Briscoe delivered. In the final laps, Christopher Bell moved close enough to challenge for the lead, but his number 20 Toyota tightened up in dirty air on the last lap, and he could not complete the pass. Briscoe kept the no. 19 Toyota in front through the final corners and secured the win for Gibbs Racing, giving the organization another major result in a season where its cars have consistently shown speed. What made the win even more interesting was the Gibbs Racing storyline. Briscoe, Bell, and Denny Hamlin finished first, second, and third, giving JGR another huge 1-2-3 result. Toyota also had a monster night overall, putting 7 cars in the top 10 for the first time in a Cup Series race. Bubba Wallace finished 6th in the number 23 Toyota, Ty Gibbs finished 8th, Corey Heim finished 9th, and Riley Herbst finished 10th, adding to Toyota's record-setting top 10 total. Bell summed up the manufacturer's speed with a short post-race line: "Yeah, Toyotas are fast." For Briscoe, this win came at a track he has always enjoyed. Chicagoland had not hosted a Cup race since 2019, but the return felt like a reminder of why so many fans missed it. The surface was bumpy, the cars moved around, and drivers had to search for grip. After the win, Briscoe said, "This has been a place that I've always loved coming to, back when we used to, and I've missed it. It's always been one of my top 5 tracks." He also connected the win to the paint scheme and holiday weekend, saying, "I feel so American winning in the Base Pro Shop's red, white and blue car, 4th of July weekend, 250 years. The race was not controlled by Briscoe from the beginning. William Byron had one of the strongest cars for much of the night in the number 24 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. He won Stage 1 and Stage 2, led a race-high 94 laps according to the race report, and positioned himself as a leading contender before the final cycle of stops. The race turned in Briscoe's favor during the final stage. William Byron had been one of the strongest cars all night and won both Stage 1 and Stage 2. Byron led the most laps and looked like he had a real chance to control the finish, but the final green flag pit cycle changed everything. Briscoe came to pit road before Byron, and that strategy helped him jump ahead once everything cycled through. From there, he had to manage the lead for the final run. Bell and Hamlin both got around Byron late, but Bell became the main threat. Byron followed Briscoe to pit road 1 lap later, but the exchange cost him the lead. Once the field cycled through green flag stops, Briscoe held the top position for the final 46 laps. Byron finished 4th, and afterward he said, "A win would have been awesome. We've been craving that for a long time and working really hard to get there. We could kind of taste it there with a couple runs to go." In the final laps, Bell closed right up to Briscoe's bumper. He was clearly faster at moments, but passing was another story. Dirty air made it difficult, and lapped traffic played a major role. Sometimes traffic helped Bell close the gap, but in the last couple of laps, it helped Briscoe protect the lead. Briscoe later explained the effect of slower cars, saying, "I kind of got lucky having lapped cars. I was struggling pretty bad. Christopher was certainly coming. Out of all the people to race against, I knew Christopher was going to be clean with me." He also described the late race battle as a cat-and-mouse game while both cars were sliding on old tires. Briscoe knew Bell was coming. He also knew Bell would race him clean, but clean does not mean easy. Bell tried to position himself for a run, especially through turns 3 and 4, but Briscoe covered just enough ground to stay ahead. At the line, Briscoe beat Bell by less than 0.3 of a second. After the finish, Briscoe celebrated with a burnout, climbed onto his car, and waved to the sellout crowd. Moments later, another part of the weekend's story appeared in victory lane. There was also a funny personal detail behind the win. Briscoe and crew chief James Small had taken an off-season trip to the United Kingdom, where Briscoe discovered chocolate buttons. Small later promised Briscoe he would share some if they won on his birthday. After Briscoe parked in victory lane, the chocolates were delivered. So yes, the win was literally sweet. Briscoe said after tasting them, they were pretty dang good. The moment added a personal detail to a race defined by pit strategy, defense, and the first win of the season for the number 19 team. For Christopher Bell, the result continued a repeated pattern in 2026. Bell finished second for the 4th time this season. On paper, another runner-up finish is a strong result, especially considering he is still recovering from a broken left wrist and was wearing a splint. But Bell was clearly frustrated. He has had speed. He has led laps. He has put himself in position to win. But again, he came up one spot short. After the race, Bell said, "It's just disappointing to continue to lose races." He also said, "We've lost them every way possible," while explaining his frustration after another near miss. Bell's car improved as the race went on, especially in the final stage, but the damage from earlier contact on pit road and the challenge of passing late made the difference. He got close enough to pressure Briscoe, but not close enough to complete the move. During a caution around lap 49, Bell made contact with Todd Gilliland on pit road after being released from his stall as Gilliland was entering a nearby stall. Bell later said he did not receive the information quickly enough to avoid accelerating out of the box, and the contact made his car really loose, requiring additional adjustments during the race. Denny Hamlin finished third after starting from the pole. Hamlin admitted afterward that he felt like he had control early, even when he was not leading, but small mistakes in changing balance kept him from being the driver fighting for the win at the end. Hamlin said, "I thought I was in control early on, even though I wasn't leading." He added that he probably got a little lazy on some restarts and later lost balance in stage 3. Still, his third-place finish produced a significant points result because Tyler Reddick had one of the most damaging nights among the championship contenders. Reddick entered the race near the top of the standings, but his night fell apart when his car developed a serious issue after debris damaged the radiator. His team had to take the car behind the wall for repairs, and he finished deep in the field. That result was a big hit to his regular season championship hopes and allowed Hamlin to extend his points lead. The issue occurred with about 32 laps left in Stage 2, when the number 452311 Racing Toyota had an oil leak and went to the garage. The crew replaced the radiator because of a hole, and Reddick finished 36th, leaving him 44 points behind Hamlin after entering the weekend only 1 point back. Kyle Larson also had a rough night. After qualifying second and running near the front, Larson spun off turn 4 and slid into the wet infield grass. The car got stuck, and safety crews had to pull him out. Larson ended up multiple laps down and finished near the back, continuing what has become a frustrating winless stretch. The incident happened on lap 93 while Larson was running third. His number 5 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet had to be pulled from the mud, and he finished 34th, extending his winless drought to 43 races. The rest of the top 5 and top 10 also carried important results. While Briscoe, Bell, and Hamlin stole the headline, William Byron deserves credit for a strong performance. Byron won both stages and led a race-high number of laps. For much of the night, he looked like the driver to beat. But after losing track position during the last pit sequence, he did not quite have the pace to get back to the lead. He still finished fourth, making it a valuable points day. Alex Bowman finished fifth, his first top 5 result since Texas in May. Bubba Wallace finished sixth in a Space Jam-themed Toyota. Ryan Blaney finished seventh for his 7th straight top 10 finish, followed by Ty Gibbs, Corey Heim, and Riley Herbst. The race also affected the NASCAR In-Season Challenge, the 5-race bracket tournament with $1 million awarded to the winner. The race also mattered for NASCAR's In-Season Challenge. Briscoe advanced by beating Ty Gibbs, while Byron, Bowman, Chase Elliott, Hamlin, Bell, Todd Gilliland, and Ryan Blaney also moved on. The quarter-final matchups became part of the next phase of the summer schedule, with Briscoe, Byron, Bowman, Elliott, Hamlin, Bell, Gilliland, and Blaney remaining alive in the bracket. Post-race inspection was completed in the Cup Series garage with no issues, confirming Chase Briscoe as the winner at Chicagoland Speedway. The race also confirms several major competitive trends. Gibbs Racing controlled the podium. Toyota produced 7 of the top 10 finishers. Hamlin strengthened his regular season points lead, and Reddick and Larson both lost major ground because of separate issues. Chase Briscoe came to Chicagoland needing a breakthrough. He left with a trophy, a playoff boost, and a box of chocolate buttons. Let us know your view on NASCAR's return to Chicagoland Speedway, whether the track should remain on the Cup schedule, and whether Briscoe won the race with defense or Bell missed the final opportunity. If you follow weekly NASCAR news, race results, and playoff updates, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for the next NASCAR update.